kind of know that you're progressing?
Yeah, I'm not thinking about any of that, to be honest with you. Think about this week. You know, when our guys have played well, we've been a good team. So I'm not, looking at like next week or the week after. I think that's one of our, to be quite honest with you, that's one of the things I've tried to instill in the guys, and I think we're getting closer to it. Just completely focused on this week in Atlanta. And what I want to see from this week is a team that's focused, that we had a great practice just now. We had a really nice practice on Monday, good meetings. So, we're down some guys. We have some guys injured. Some guys are going to have to step up. So I just want to see guys go out there, coaching staff, coach their best, players play their best, and play our best game this Sunday.
We're only on Wednesday, but Michael Jordan and John Miller didn't practice. Do you anticipate them being out, or are they still a possibility?
I think John, like last week, will probably be out, and there's a small possibility for Michael maybe.
In that case?
In terms of who I would play? We'd have Brady up. We'd have, Deontay Brown is back. Dennis Daly, Cam Irving's returning to play. So Austin Pleasance we elevated last week, so it'd be some mixture of those guys. But, pretty good chance that the three of the starters that played against Atlanta the last time won't play.
Matt, you say, just to be clear, small possibility on Michael.
Possibly. I'm not holding out a ton of hope for that, though.
And would you think Cam would slide back in and tackle?
Mm-hmm.
A couple COVID cases, were those independent of each other?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
When you look at Atlanta right now, they've just been struggling some offensively. I know they've got some guys down too, but what do you see out of them offensively, and particularly when Cordell Patterson's been playing?
Well, Cordell Patterson's one of my favorite players to watch in the National Football League. I loved him as a kick returner. We played him last year. Excellent tailback, dynamic receiver, and he brings a lot of obviously difficulties to the defense because he can do all three things. They can be in a multitude of different personnel groupings. Kyle Pitts is another guy. He's a tight end. He's a receiver. Zacchaeus, Gage. They have a lot of other guys who can make plays. Mike Davis is a guy we have a lot of familiarity with, and then they have Matt Ryan. This league, goes as the quarterback goes, and he's one of the premier quarterbacks in the league. And so, I think for us, they have an excellent running game, wide zone running game. That's something that at times has given us trouble. So we have to play really well up front to stop the run, whether it be Mike or Cordell. Take away the play-action passing game, which they're excellent at. They do a great job of getting guys open. So those are the two areas I think that we're seeing from them that they're doing at a high level, and they really mix their run and play action. There's not a lot of tells. They do an excellent job.
How would you gauge Cam's attitude of the offense coming off the bye week?
Improved. We just have to have a plan that Cam feels comfortable with, and he has to just go out and play well.
I meant to ask about Cam Irving. Do you think he'd be available this week, Matt?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, Cam. I think there's a chance. We go through the practices, but he practiced out there today, looked good, so I think there's a chance Cam will be back.
How do you describe Jeff Nixon as a play caller?
I don't know how to describe play callers. He's going to play to the guy's strengths. He's disciplined. He's not emotional. That's one of the things I like best about Jeff is that he's even keel. He doesn't get too high or too low. And the biggest thing that I want to see from him, in addition to the staff, is our ability to adjust when people do something different. I think that's, I think coming out of the half in the third quarter, right, as I said last week, we've only scored 18 points on the whole year. Another 7 on a pump block. So I'd like to see us be a team that adjusts as the game goes on and reacts to how people are playing us, because of the weapons that we have now. Obviously, Christian being down, because of DJ, his success, Christian's success, Robbie, different quarterbacks, people come into the game and they try to take away different things. And I think the mark, to me, it's never really quite as much play calling as it is adjusting to what they're doing and probing and finding the things that work. So I think that Jeff is, as I said, very even keel. He's about the right things, technique, detail, but I do think he and the offensive staff will do a good job of reacting to, hey, this is what I think that they're going to do, and then they get in the game, and Coach Pease might do something different, and we have to adjust to that, and that's something I know that Jeff can do.
You touched on the offensive side for Atlanta. Can you talk about their defense?
Yeah, to me, it all starts with Grady Jarrett. He's one of the best players in the National Football League. Complete and total dominance at the three technique position. Obviously, Fowler's back for them. He's, basically their whole front. They play with an aggressiveness, and we faced them the first time. They were a cover 2 base team, mixed in a little bit of one high. They're playing more man now. They're pressuring. They drafted Terrell last year at a high, early in the draft, so they're trusting those guys to play. So aggressive front linebackers who can run, that can cover, and a lot of different looks. Man zone. So they've evolved since we played them the first time. So it'll be a challenge for Jeff, the staff, for Cam, for the offense to see, hey, here's how they're going to play us, and make sure that we're in the right place.
You know Jeff a long time. What are some of your earliest memories of, I guess, going back to high school?
Yeah, I mean, I knew Jeff obviously in high school and then in college, and then I didn't really see him for probably, I guess, 10 or 12 years, as he kind of went off to be a pro coach and I went off to be a college coach. But, he was probably one of my first memories is I think Jeff could do 225 like 20 sometimes when we were like in 10th grade, like 11th grade when I moved there, and I certainly could not. So just being like, he was a great football player. He's an even better person, great family. He's a tremendous he's the father of his son's a football player at Nebraska. He's got two great daughters, twins, and then a younger daughter, Jasmine, who's an all-state soccer player. Wife Laura is awesome. So, I knew Jeff for a long time, and it was a really good thing to get him to leave the NFL and come with us at Baylor, and he was part of that turnaround at Baylor, and he came here with me, and so I just have a lot of trust in his work ethic. I mean, he'll put a lot of time into it. More importantly, I know how much he cares about players, and I think a large part of this that people don't see is the players have to know how much you care about them and you want them to be successful in order for them to go lay it on the line at the level that you're asking them to do. This is a hard thing physically, and I know Jeff has that care for players.
Do you recall the first time you remember him thinking that he could be a good coach someday? I know you made tapes for him. Was it in college or high school?
How'd you find out about that?
Got my sources.
Yeah, I made no. Jeff was like he was like one of those guys who was in Street and Smiths. He was like an all-state, all-American type, not all-American maybe, but like on those lists, the list that I didn't make it. And so as he was getting recruited back before all those things, I made his. I was digital enough that I could hook up 2 VCRs and put a soundtrack to it and make his highlight film for him. So. Pete Rock and CL Smooth was the music at the time. I don't know if you remember that, Bruce, but it was DOS effects, a little bunch of things. So I had a little something. But I made his highlight tapes for him, and he went off to West Virginia as a scholarship player, and then eventually transferred back to Penn State. But yeah. So.
Matt, how does that familiarity with him, like, I'm assuming at Baylor, like, not that you're not upfront and honest with everybody, but can be particularly, maybe brutally honest with the guy you know so well.
I told Jeff when I came here he wasn't going to be the OC. I was going to ask him to come and be the senior offensive assistant. I don't do. There's to me, like, I have tremendous friends. But when I walk in this building, it's all about the Carolina Panthers and what's right for the Panthers. And so, now just familiarity with people. It kind of like when Ron left here and went to Washington, he took a lot of people he had familiarity with it because it just lets you know what people are going to be like in good times and bad times, like in difficult times. You see what people are like after you have a big win. You see what people are like after you lose 2 in a row. And so that eliminates a lot more people than it adds in. But when you see guys like Frizz Jackson or Phil Snow or Jeff Nixon, when things are down and everyone's doubting you and does this work, and you see them just showing up and continuing to work, you're like, okay, I believe in that person. So, at the end of the day, I made this decision, because I could have made Frizz or Sean or all those guys. At the end of the day, Jeff's the one guy who has, coordinating experience, calling plays on the staff, and that just to me just seemed like a natural fit, because everyone thinks they can call plays until, you have 11 guys looking at you like, what's the next play? And I don't know if they're going to zero blitz me or play cover 2, and you have to stand up and make a call, and everyone afterwards can say that was a good call or bad call. It's just really hard to make the call, and so Jeff's done that, and he's done it through good moments and bad moments, and so to me that was the place of starting. So I like the way he's attacked us so far, and again, I'll say it, people kind of won't pay as much attention to it, but he's certainly not doing the whole game plan, just like Joe did and just like no OC did. Pat's coming up with runs, Andrew's coming up with these plays, Sean's coming up with third downs, Frizz is coming up with first and second down passes, and then we're all getting together and, hey, what's good, what's not good, and that's just the way Phil does it. So I think it's a really good collective effort. And I'll say this just because I like these guys. We have some really good young coaches, Matt Lombardi, Tony Sperano, Alonzo Escalante, Garrett McGuire, Grant Udinsky. Those guys, down a coach now, they've stepped up and they've done a really nice job.
Look back at the first Atlanta game, what were you guys able to do effectively to run the ball the way you did that day?
We were in a lot of no huddle. And but at the end of the day, I just think I think our backs ran hard. I think Paradis did a nice job. Michael Jordan played a really good game that game. Trent Scott, that was I think his first start. I think that was his first start, maybe second. But I think Trent played a good game in that game. So Cam, I thought those guys did nice jobs. Sam extended some third downs, let us stay on the field. But I thought the backs ran hard that game. Chuba ran hard. Amir was a little bit of a spark plug in that game for us. Then the defense, the defense played well and allowed us to just continue with running the ball because, it was 10-6, for a lot of the game. They had the lead. It wasn't like we just, got a head start. So I thought it was a team-type win, and obviously we took the ball away twice, which was important.
You guys seem a little bit rejuvenated, refreshed at practice coming out of this bye?
I think their bodies are way better. That was, I think Ellis asked me the other day, and I never want to make excuses, but they're certainly beat up. It's been, it's 17 games, first time in NFL history, right? So it's hard, right? It's hard to begin with. We have a very, very young team. So I asked Jeremy Chin. Jeremy Chin and Taylor Moton have played more snaps. They played 3 more games worth of snaps than most guys on our team. I said, Chin, how do you feel? He was like, I feel a lot better than I did last year. So that rookie year really takes a toll on people. I think the time off has been good for their bodies. I think like anybody, obviously a little time away, a chance to regroup, you kind of come back and you can refocus a little bit at the same time. I know they probably would have loved to play the next day after the Miami game. So, but I do think you can see guys like Shaq and those guys who, Shaq's played through a ton of things this year. Shaq Thompson's the ultimate, Carolina Panther in my mind. He's got a little more kick in his step right now because he's had a chance to take a bye and, get his legs back underneath him.
You had a officiating crew out there today. I know you do that at camp. What was the reason?
It's a reaction to the penalties, right? Just sort of like we tried to get it a couple weeks ago. Obviously we can't get rid of, there's no NFL officials, but they coordinated with us to get some ACC officials here. And if anything else other than just to, sometimes you throw things at problems, right? So just to show, hey, this is what's here. It's crazy about our penalties, and I hate, I'll share it with you guys because, I might have said this here today, but the PN10 said about the first play to start a drive, on the last 54 plays to start a drive, last 54 drives, we started with 10 penalties. So our penalties are actually happening on the first play of drives. And so, when you have those things, is that, what is it? Is it a lack of discipline? Yes, at times it is. Don't get me wrong. It's also sometimes you're trying so hard to win because you care about the team that you're just doing a little too much, not technique. So I think for our guys, hearing that was like, wow, we are really hurting ourselves at times. So you try to arm guys with information. You eliminate guys. To be quite honest, you play someone else if someone's just a serial penalty guy. Bring officials in, watch tape, point it out. So we're just trying to attack it in a multitude of ways, and then at the same time continuing to coach technique because a lot of the issues, holds don't happen because a guy doesn't care. Holds happen because a guy's trying to make his block and his hands get a little bit outside, and sometimes it can be a little arbitrary, because holds happen a lot of different plays, but you, a savvy player, lets go, and so those things are hurting us. So we brought officials out just to get their eyes on it. We did it all camp. We had very few penalties in camp. We had very few penalties early in the year. As the year has gone on, we've gotten more penalties. Didn't have very many penalties in Hay. I think we had one false start, so hopefully it carries over.
Does the proliferation penalties cause you to have a shorter leash on guys, or even the serial offenders?
Well, I don't think it's any. There's one guy who has a couple of them, but I think when you have two guys of equal, thing that you can rotate one over the other. We've sat some guys at times, but when they're up on the offensive line, we don't have a tremendous amount of offensive linemen right now with all the injuries. So we just got to keep coaching the guys that are out there, and my job is to coach the guys. So yeah, if I have the luxury of, hey, it's this guy or this guy, I can move a guy kind of like on the D line. We have a lot of bodies, but if it's a position like the offensive line, where most of our penalties are coming from the D line, right, and from the offensive line, we're just getting guys ready every week. Obviously losing a couple guys this week was really tough.
Do a couple more.
I know you have Brady kind of moving in at guard, and you said you probably would put Cam at left tackle. Do you think Brady's just a better fit at guard, or is Cam just a better fit at tackle, or are you just trying it out?
Yeah, when Cam's played good at left tackle, except for he has struggled a little bit in the Cowboys game, but when Cam's played, he's played well enough for us to win. Brady's more of a guard body. He's played tackle at times, but his future is probably more as a guard center type. He's got athleticism and flexibility to go out there, but not quite the size and length of the premier left tackles. So When we drafted him, we thought he'd be a good guard, and a really good guard in time, and a good tackle. And that's what he's been. He's been a utility guy. The problem for Brady, I tell Brady all the time, hang in there. I promise you're going to be a good player. Is he's just playing so many different positions because he's not a starter, right? So same thing happens to Dennis. They got to play. They practice all week at right guard, and the guy goes down. All of a sudden, they're playing the whole game at left tackle. That is not that's difficult, but that's where we are right now, and they have to adapt to it. So I just think for us, it's Brady can play guard. Cam would not be able to go inside and play guard. And Dennis has been playing tackle. Dennis at least has experience at guard. So if Cam's back, Dennis would go inside. Brady would go inside, and those would be the guys. Those would be the positions the guys have the most time at.
Hey, Matt, you talked about on Monday you were a little undecided in terms of would PJ Walker play at all? Have you decided at all if you might see some action, or is it going to be exclusively Cam again? What do you think?
Yeah, I think we'll have a plan for PJ. Whether we get to it or not, I don't think it'll depend on how the game goes. But we have some plays that are kind of PJ plays that he has the most things that we'd like to do that Cam hasn't had a lot of time. And obviously PJ's got a lot more time on task in the offense, so we have that as a possibility. And then we'll get in the game and see how it goes, right? I mean, if it's like Washington where Cam takes us right down the field, then we might stick with him longer. I mean, we might mix it up. So we haven't even watched the practice tape from today, to be quite honest with you, to see how things look. But I think that was the thought process for us is. We have any good player that we have, let's use them to go win these games. And so Atlanta's going to be a tremendous challenge. They're a really good team, so we're going to have to use everybody. So if PJ can help us win, we'll use him.
In Dante's absence, do you anticipate you guys will be able to rotate defensive backs as you have, or do you think guys, like Stephon are going to have to step up and play more snaps?
I mean, Stephon played like 47 snaps in the last game, so I don't know how many more than that he'll get to. I think that's the number. You guys might count it. It might be 40-some, but I asked today because I'm making sure we have the right numbers, and they had him at 47. So I don't know if Stephon will be like a 70-play guy, but I think in that 40 to 55 play range is probably right for him. Rashawn Melvin's a guy that broke his hand. He's back now. I like when Rashawn plays a lot. Obviously AJ's played a lot of football. CJ's been coming on. I think CJ's playing really good football for us. Keith started for us, so. Part of it for us, we have so many like 4-corner packages, on third down and all that. So those guys have a tendency to get reps anyway. But I think Stephon will probably be in that range, hopefully 40 to 55, and then see how he feels.
You mentioned with Brady that lack of length, and you guys have talked about that before. Where does that show up at tackle versus guard, and where does that become a liability?
Yeah, when you're playing guard, the guy's so close to you, so it's really about. You still want to be able to have hand dominance and hand control and strike, but it's not really about getting my hands and keeping them off me. If anything, I don't want a lot of separation at the guard position. I want to get my hands on guys, and that's why you want big, barrel-chested, strong, powerful men with arms. We want length at every position. Let's start there. But on the inside, at such close quarters, quickness, power, balance, all those things can compensate. And Brady does not have not long arms. He has good arms. As I get out to the tackle positions, the premier left and right tackles have 34, not really more 35, more 36-inch arms, guys like Taylor Moton, because there's so much more distance. And if I wait till the guy gets right up on top of me as he's running full speed with a 7-yard head start, as he meets me at the junction point, and I don't have long arms and I can't keep him off me, now he can run me over. Then I try to set because I don't have long arms. I try to punch him, and all of a sudden he swims me. So having guys like Taylor Moton, having the premier left tackles in the league with the long arms, they're able to play with balance and still keep guys off their body. So guards, centers, they can be more powerful inside because they don't have as much of there's closer quarters. As they get out and the speed rushers get wide and come hit you running 4-5, you need to have arm length to keep them off of you. So it really just comes down to pass pro, not really run blocking. All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah, it was good for me. I got to hang out with my wife and baby a little bit, get my body back, you know, get it healthy, get it going. So it was a great time for me and much needed.
How much can you tell that getting the body back? I mean, because this is kind of the point at which you've never really played this much football in a year before. Where do you see that the most?
Well, like, what do you mean? Like, where do you see in the body?
Where can you tell that you feel better? I mean, is there anything in particular out on the field?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you get your legs back. It was a long season. Like you said, I came from college, and usually you're got a couple weeks off preparing for the bowl game or whatever, and we still basically in the middle of the season. So the legs definitely is good to get them back. It felt fresher, felt faster today. And that's what you need to use the bye week for. I mean, I've talked to a lot of vets, and they said, hey, you need to use this to, you know, relax your legs back. Don't go do anything stupid, and just really take care of your body. And that's really what I focused on.
Matt said they view you more as a guard than a tackle. Do you feel more comfortable at that position than at tackle?
I feel, like I've said before, I love playing it all, whether it be guard or tackle. Enjoy playing both, enjoy learning. There's a lot of similarities, like I always say. And so I just try to get better at each position. Whatever they play me at, try to get better 1% every day, wherever it's at. Learning the landmarks for tackle and guard, everything else, just trying to get that improvement every day.
Did you play guard in college or high school?
Nah, I played right tackle in high school and played left tackle in college. Played a little bit in practice, guard here and there, but mostly tackle.
Someone who's played almost exclusively tackle, what's the challenge moving inside? What's different?
Yeah, I mean, just from like an outside perspective, if you look at it, tackle, you have more space. So you're out there more, you have a little more time for everything. So you got to be real balanced, real good with your eyes. And guard, it happens quicker. And so everything happens a little bit quicker. So you even got to be better with your eyes at guard than you are at tackle. Your landmarks maybe have to be a little bit tighter. There's just a lot of little things that change. But as far as the techniques go, there's a lot of carryover. With the techniques.
Brady, when you look at Atlanta's defense, what do you see from them, particularly up front, right there, these guys?
Yeah, they're a great D-line. Big challenge for us. I mean, throughout their history, they pride themselves on being a physical defense. And we know that. Like we said, Grady Jarrett up in the middle is going to anchor that D-line. Great player. Just a lot of good, stout players in there, and so we got to be on our A game this week for sure.
What does Jeff Nixon bring to this offense as play caller and just in general?
Yeah, man, he's an awesome coach. Really demands great technique out of you. I mean, even today, like I was hearing with everyone, like up front, he was, hey, O-line, like be great with your hands or dominate with your hands. So he's really getting on us about our technique. And in the run game, being physical, you know, that's what we want to be up front is a physical O-line, and he expects that out of us, and that's what we want to give him.
Do you expect this team to be more, I guess, committed to the run with him?
Like I said, I think we've always been committed to the run. How they scheme it up is up to them, and how many run-pass ratio is up to the coaches. But that's what we want to be, and that's the goal.
With the injuries, you've been up several places on the line, and as a guy who's used to playing in one area, how has that adjustment process been for you, having to, you know, maybe switch positions sometimes mid-game?
Yeah, it's been awesome for me. Great learning experience, because when you're only in one area or one position, I mean, you lock in that position, and that's great, but sometimes you lack the knowledge of what everyone else is doing, and so when I've been switched around, I really have to be on my A game, knowing, hey, what's the left guard doing on this, or what's right tackle. So it's been really good for me just to learn what everyone's doing, so I can be on the same page with everyone. Because that's maybe the hardest thing up front is all five guys doing their job every time. Because if one guy is not doing their job, the play isn't going to work. So it's been amazing for me.
What was your reaction to hearing that Joe Brady got fired?
Yeah, I mean, coming into this league, I knew it was a business, and it's hard to see early on, seeing friends leave or seeing Coach Brady go. You created a lot of good relationships as a team, and that's part of the business, but it's a hard part of the business and something that I'm gonna have to definitely get used to because, I mean, like I said, it's part of it. I hope him the best. He's a great coach, really smart, helped me out a ton, and I have nothing but respect for him.
Brady, you've had a couple opportunities, I guess, at right tackle and left tackle starting this year. How would you assess your play in those two games?
Yeah, I definitely feel like improvement is what I'm all about right now. Slowly improving, getting better. Like I said, 1% every day. Always saying what's next, and I feel like I've done that. You know, I felt like I've improved a little bit each game, and I'm going to keep improving. Still young, still learning a lot, and I'm excited to do that.
Right here, a lot of players talk about their welcome to the NFL moment. Did you experience one of those in either of those starts?
I don't know if there is an exact moment, but just everything, you know, like from, I don't know, the crowd to the energy to the stress of it all, you know. There's a lot of moments where you're like, wow, I'm in the NFL. A lot of good and a lot of things you have to manage as well. A lot of expectations. So definitely it's a variety of things that have kind of been like, wow, I'm here.
Brady, having played so much tackle through college, and as you said, high school, when did you realize when you got here that guard was part of your future and that that's what they had kind of in the back of their mind for you?
Yeah, early on I knew that, you know, they saw me maybe at both early on and trying to figure out where I fit. And so early on I knew that was going to be a possibility, and so just ready to play both or play whatever they need me to.
Was that mini camp, training camp?
Yeah, rookie camp, mini camp, you know, had an idea. And like all last offseason, I was training both at tackle and guard because I knew a lot of teams viewed me at guard as well. And so I've been working it.
What would you say the breakdown was of those teams pre-draft in terms of who saw you at guard versus tackle?
I don't know the exact numbers. I just heard both, so I was ready.
Was it a dialogue at all when you got here? Like, did you say, you know, this is kind of the position, you know, that I'm most comfortable with talking about tackle? Was there any, you know, like, did you know, have a say in it at all?
I mean, I think it was like it's pretty obvious that coming right out of college, I'm going to be most comfortable at tackle. I played there my whole college career. But yeah, there's been dialogue like, hey, let's play a little bit of guard, see how it goes and stuff. And so I've just been open to it all, really. And that's kind of been my mentality throughout this haul is be ready for everything because you never know. There's a lot of things that are happening that you got to be ready for whatever.
Well, good. Thank you, Brady.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Brady.
Sorry, question. Nothing? Good. All right.
What's knowing that your role will be more increased this week with Christian out, what's it been like in the bye week and then preparing this week for you?
No difference. I'm a routine guy. I do the same thing every day.
And I totally understand that. But is it more exciting at all to be able to?
Nah. I played a lot of ball, man, and I understand you always got to be ready, and that's the importance of a routine. I do it for the love. I don't do it for the glory.
Amir, when you guys have run well, what do you think has been the key to that success?
Not beating ourselves, for one. We've had a lot of runs that haven't counted for us, penalties on first downs, things like that. I think when you take those away, when you look at the statistics, they'll be a lot different. So I think that's where it starts, just mentally not beating ourselves.
Do you feel like the offense will look differently at all with Nixon calling plays and Joe Brady no longer being here?
I'm not sure, not necessarily. I don't think so. I know guys are understanding that we need to be more accountable no matter who's calling the plays. I think at the end of the day, the players got to run them. So I think that's where it starts with the players.
Amir, I know you haven't been around Jeff long, but kind of wonder what your impressions were when you got here of him and kind of have you gotten to know him?
Yeah. Great guy, for one. He's always going to look out for his guys. Very cerebral, understands the game, the ins and outs, knows where everyone's supposed to be. So he coaches from an understanding standpoint as opposed to just like do your job, which I think is good for a lot of young players.
Could you expand on that, what you mean, like in terms of the understanding?
Yeah, understanding defensive structure, knowing what to expect if we have a certain scheme called, knowing what schemes the defense may, draw up to defeat that and how you can counteract. And he's always one step ahead, and I appreciate that.
Amir, what are your impressions of Atlanta's defense and how they're playing right now?
They're a good defense. They fly around, a lot of speed, very intense, great linebacker core, great D-line. I think they have a very good defense.
When you went into that Atlanta game the last time, did you realize going in there was going to be like a 47 carry day, anything like that?
No, it's all about the flow of the game. And as kind of answering how I answered earlier, as players, man, we just go out there and do whatever's called. You don't really have any expectations necessarily, because when you do that and you put all your eggs in one basket, you may not like the results if that isn't working. So we just respond.
Was there a point in that game where you guys kind of realized, this is working?
No, not really. I know Coach Rhule and our offensive coaches, they preach, don't look at the scoreboard until the fourth quarter. And that's what we felt like in that game. And, until we looked up, we didn't realize how well we had run the ball. But every week is a different week. This is a different Atlanta team, and we're respecting that.
Real good.
How was the practice today, just kind of with Jeff kind of sliding into that new, I guess Monday also?
I think the guys responded well. It's a tough business, losing somebody mid-season. I've been there before, early in my career in Detroit, lost a coordinator mid-season. And it's never easy, because everyone is different. People lead differently. But, I think everyone stepped up and just did their job, and that makes his job easier, and it makes our offense more efficient. Thank you, guys.
Nah, see, look, I had a big jacket. I was looking at it, and I was like, nah. And I'm glad it's hot in here. Yeah, I just went with the shirt, just the basic T-shirt.
Are you surprised what people consider cold down here?
I mean, I just got back from Canada, so I remember I was coming back here, and I was coming out of my house, and I had a big jacket on. I was thinking it was gonna cold breeze or something. It was warm. I was like, shoot, yeah, it's a different world over here.
Looked like you had a neat bye-week experience. What was that like, and how'd that get set up?
Yeah, it was pretty much, I just kind of went back home, saw my family, was able to go to an Oilers game. They always treat me really well. I mean, everybody back home treats me really well. I've only been home like twice in like the last 2-3 years, so like for me to go home and see my family is really big. My sister had a kid. You know, my brother just got out of jail. Like, there's a bunch of things that, you know, been waiting for me at home, so it's good to get back.
Did you get the VIP treatment at those Oilers games?
They treat me pretty good. I ain't gonna lie.
Shiva, how it was getting the bye week at this point? Like, how did your body feel your first rookie season, and now that you'll probably have an expanded workload in the next 5 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, season's not done, so, you know, still got 5 games left. The biggest thing I've learned is just managing your body, managing your emotions, and just managing everything, to be honest. If you can manage all those little things, I feel like everything will work out. So I feel like I've been working hard to take care of my body, take care of my mind, and, you know, take on everything that this, you know, long season comes with, and I feel like I've done a great job. So.
Shiva, new person calling plays this week with you. Today in practice, just in terms of how things are run, you expected things to be different, that's all.
To be honest, I just play football. You know, Coach Nix, obviously he's going to be OC now. Great coach, obviously my running back coach. And, you know, I believe in our coaches. No matter what they tell me to do, I'm going to do it. That's how I've always been, so, yeah.
What were your first impressions of Jeff when you got to town? Like, what kind of dude is he?
Coach he's a real genuine guy, honestly. He's a really good guy, and you know, obviously Baylor and stuff, so we're familiar with each other, but just a really good guy. And, you know, the thing is with football, like, you can have great coaches, you know, great minds, smart, but like it's hard to, you know, really have like a good coach that cares for you and genuine. I really think he's that. So.
Did you have much background with him in the pre-draft experience?
A little bit. I kind of talked to the Panthers late, but I did know him. We did talk, and yeah, like I said, just a great guy overall, and very smart.
What kind of message did Matt make in the change at coordinators send to you guys as players?
He pretty much just said, you know, that was a decision for, you know, the higher ups to make, and, you know, it's just we have to adapt to it. You know, they say there's different positions on the field, there's different positions in this building, so, you know, they make those calls. We just play football.
Do you feel that with Jeff, there's going to be more of a commitment to the run? And as a running back, you're probably going to like that.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't know. Just whatever they call, you know, I just go with. Whether we're going to pass the ball more, that's good for me. Hopefully I get more catches. If we're going to run the ball more. You know, blocking, hopefully I get more blocks. Whatever, I just play football, like I said.
Have you ever experienced an in-season coordinator change?
I don't think so. Oklahoma State, we change coordinators every year, so yeah.
Are these situations comparable at all? Like, what is it like, you know, hearing a different body in there calling?
I mean, it's no different. This is the National Football League. You know, we all professionals. It's all about adapting and moving on. I think that's the biggest thing about, you know, being in the National Football League is no matter what's thrown at you, you have to, you know, continue to do your thing, and that's what we're gonna do.
Matt said one of the things he liked about Jeff is his ability to adapt to whatever the personnel, how the game's going, whatever. What have you seen? Have you seen any kind of example where you've seen maybe him doing that?
I mean, it's hard for me to, you know, bring up an example or something so fast, but Coach is just really smart. You know, obviously he's my running back coach. I'm with him all the time and have been with him since I've been here. He's really smart. And, you know, for a running back coach, you think they just know running back stuff, but he knows concepts. He knows everything, inside and out, offense and defense. So, yeah, I'm no doubt he could probably adapt to anything. So.
Has the Falcons' defense changed at all since the first time you guys played them?
Yeah, I mean, when you play someone, the first time and, you beat them the first time, they probably won't do that again, you know what I'm saying? So they'll definitely change, and they have changed over the last few weeks. And the biggest thing is, it's going to be a dogfight. I feel like, over the past few years, that's kind of the culture this game's, kind of earned. So, yeah, just ready for war.
You heard the call. You heard the call of football. That's your favorite sport to play. But when you go back and you go to a hockey game, obviously, I think a lot of Americans don't understand the difference as far as the culture is concerned. How big that is. How big is hockey was it for you growing up?
So hockey was big for me growing up, and believe it or not, so I never played hockey, but the time I was most into hockey was 2009, and we was playing the Hurricanes in the Stanley Cup. We lost bad. I was mad. I ain't like Carolina after that. I like them now, but but yeah, hockey's big. I mean, I took my girl back to Canada with me, and she was like, "This is crazy. This is like a college NFL game. I didn't expect this." And I was like, "Yeah, it's the same atmosphere. Maybe just the same." So yes, it's definitely big up there.
You get to see one of the greatest to play right now.
Yeah, exactly. A couple of them.
Yeah, sure.
You ever met Gretzky?
No, I was actually able. I talked to him my 2019 season. We talked. He actually put out a video of me for the Heisman stuff where it was going. So yeah, Gretzky, he's a good guy. I'm sure I'll meet him sooner or later.
Thanks, guys.
Good. Thanks.
Thanks, you.
Yeah, see, I had that damn going.
changing coordinators, how does that affect your outlook as far as being involved in the offense more, especially regarding like explosive plays?
I mean, I'm not trying to look too deep into it, you know, because it's still like the same offense and things like that. And I'm not really the one on the headset, so I'm not trying to, you know, put too much unnecessary thought into it.
Were you surprised at all, Robbie, or just nothing in this league surprised you anymore?
Nah, I was surprised, but like you said, you know, it's a business. You know, sometimes you got to expect the unexpected, but I honestly was a little surprised, you know, with kind of like, you know, us still being in the hunt and working towards the playoffs and all that, and then that kind of like abruptly happening, I was a little surprised.
I think you guys could benefit from a fresh look at things and, you know, somebody else calling the plays.
I mean, you know, that's the goal, you know, no disrespect to Joe or anything like that, you know, but, you know, obviously that's probably the decision behind it, you know.
You talk about being in a hunt. Is that something that you guys are discussing in the locker room, that the season isn't necessarily over? And then how is the bye week do as far as refreshing guys and kind of coming back with a different outlook?
Well, I mean, you know, we're going to take it one time at a week, but, you know, I think the goal is we're not going to, you know, just play to lose, you know. So hopefully we plan to win, and that results in, you know, the outcome that we are, you know, working towards. But, you know, taking things 1 week at a time, though.
Rob, if you can ask this, I apologize, man, but did you have much of a relationship with Jeff Nixon, and if so or if not, you know, what have been your impressions of him in the 2 years you know?
I mean, that's one of my coaches, so yeah, I have a relationship with him, and you know, you know, hard-working coach. You know, I always see him in the, like when I'm in the building, like he's in. Obviously, coaches are here late, but you know, he's a lot of respect for him. You know, he works hard about his business.
Robbie, how much of some of the frustrations we've seen you have during a game have been about the play calling and the way the flow of the game and the rhythm?
I mean, sometimes I wouldn't necessarily say it's. Sometimes it's not necessarily the play calling, just, you know, just things happening. You know, offense takes all 11, so sometimes it's been instances where we had a perfect play called and we get a penalty, and that, you know, messes that up, and, you know, things like that. So I'm not gonna, like, you know, kind of make it seem like I'm frustrated it was the play calling, it was Joe Brady, because that's not necessarily the case. And I know Joe wants me to do more than what I did. He wanted me to do more than what I did last year, so I'm not gonna, like, you know, point the finger and say that's what it is. You know, it's just a collective thing. You know, just all in all, offensively, I don't think anybody's like where they want to be, like, you know, as an offense and personally, you know. So I'm not gonna like just say it's just the play calling.
But even Cam said it was hard to get in the rhythm in your last game.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was with the play caller and just what.
Just all in all, yeah. I mean, just like how the game kind of started, and then the first drive ending in a block punt, you know, it's tough. You know, like the variables of winning a football game after a block punt is very slim to none, you know, so that's just like a, you know, a wild card to try and like overcome. And then, you know, that's just a huge momentum shifter being on the road too, you know.
You said, Robbie, that Joe wanted to get you more involved. Just was it something scheme related this year that was making it harder for the ball to come your way?
I wouldn't really say that. I think, you know, it's hard to backtrack, you know, every week of the whole season. But I mean, if you look at like the past 2 weeks, for instance, we've had two drives in the third quarter, you know, and then those are short drives and penalties, and we're backed up and things like that. So it's hard to kind of do what we want to do in a sense, you know, and playing from behind, especially last week. So, you know, I can't, you know, that's like, if I wish I knew the reasoning behind X, Y, and Z, I'd go try and get it solved, you know. So I just focus on what I can do and just, you know, just keep getting better, studying the game, and, you know, keep reinventing myself and trying to learn. So when it does come, you know, I'm ready.
Has Jeff said anything to you this week about like, hey, one of the things I want to do is get you back involved again?
Nah. I mean, like I said, Joe, Jeff, Coach Rhule, Coach Frizz, you know, I know they all want me to be involved, you know, so it's not like because Joe's gone now, I'm all of a sudden be involved, and Joe was the problem. You know what I'm saying? So that's not. I don't think that it's gonna be. You know, I know they know what I'm capable of doing. You know, it's just a collective thing.
What message did moving on from Joe Brady send to the players?
I mean, shows you it's a business, you know, and I won't really say what I don't really try to look too deep into it, you know, because I don't really 100% know what the real reasoning behind it was, but, you know, something that they felt needed to be done. So I think that sums it up, I guess.
You get a chance to reach out to Joe at all this week?
No, I haven't reached out. We haven't spoke yet. I know he probably have a lot going on his end.
Rob, you get a sense of how it might look differently on offense this week at all?
I mean, it's still the same offense, you know. So, you know, obviously we're looking to reset and go in a new direction and kind of get back to things we were doing that worked for us on a consistent basis. But I mean, I wouldn't say we're gonna just install and do a whole bunch of new things, you know. Still our bread and, you know, butter of what works for us and what we've been doing. You know, we deep into the season. We're not going to put in a whole new offense because the original play caller's not here.
Was it nice to get the whole week off, Robbie? Did the Jets do that during the bye week also?
When I was there, I don't know, it was different. Like I remember, like my rookie year, I think we had practiced like maybe like a couple times, and then it was just always, you know, always different. But you know, me personally, I'm ready for Sunday and to play football. You know, the break was nice to, you know, kind of like get away, but you know, I was, you know, ready to get back to it.
We got time for one or two. Robbie, in your opinion, what does this offense do well? Like, what are you hoping y'all get back to?
I mean, I think that you look early on in the year, we were putting up points, and I think what we were doing well was, you know, executing. You know what I'm saying? I think that what we haven't been doing well is just honestly beating ourselves with penalties and turnovers. You know, it's hard to win a football game when you shoot yourself in the foot, you know. So I think that was our problem. But I think early on in the year, when we weren't doing those things, we had that rhythm and we were executing and moving down the field as we should. So I just think it's just focusing on the little things and, you know, playing basic football and then adding on to that.
Have you ever had officials at a practice during the season before?
I think so. I don't know. I don't really pay too much attention to that. I can't honestly recall, you know. I don't really pay too much attention to that. Huh?
It seems strange. I don't remember seeing it.
I don't know. I think I might have. I don't want to say I have or I haven't. Can't really 100% remember.
Were guys aware of them today? I mean, Matt said there really weren't many flags thrown today.
Me personally, I mean, I noticed them, but, you know, I feel like my position is, you know, it's not as common for us to get penalties and things like that. But, I mean, I saw them there. I didn't pay it too much mind, you know.
Thank you, Robbie. Thanks, man. That's it for today.